We continue our conversation with Mayor Mike Purzycki. Let me get back to the last segment for 1 second, because you were talking about putting more police officers in the street. That's because of the new union contract?
Actually, no. We, before the contract, the chief committed to get more officers on the street. And we have, it seems that we have 4 times more police officers on the street than ever before.
There's a direct correlation between crime and blight. In areas that it's been scientifically studied, in areas where there's vacant homes and where there's blight, there is going to be more crime in that area as well. So one of your initiatives is to go after blight. Could you explain what you're doing?
Yeah, we have a current system which requires us to impose fines, which are criminal fines. We changed our enforcement modality from a criminal one to a civil one. We have civil fines. They become judgments against liens on the real estate, and then we can enforce it by taking the real estate to sheriff's sale if in fact they don't pay the fines. We've increased the fines. What we have in our city, Larry, are about 14,000 rental properties. We have about 1,600 vacant properties which are just neglected. They're things that are just become terrible blight in the community. And I think the pushback is just the fear of the unknown.
Well, let's explain the pushback.
Sure.
Because I think even the people that push back understand it's a problem and it has to be dealt with. Even the people that push back, but they believe that they see a gentrification of the area, that they believe that there's poor families that you would go after as part of this blight, as part of the new initiative, that would not be able to pay the fines and would be forced to move out.
Yeah. Well, if you were going to suggest that, you should have some evidence that we would ever try to do that to begin with. It's not in anybody's interest to do that. In the neighborhoods where we've actually done some work, we sent 200 notices out of the 1,000 houses in West Center City, we sent out 200 notices. We got 95 responses, meaning there are 105 that we can't go, until we go to court, we can't have access to those places. Of the 95, 35 failed. We gave them a second chance and then 21 failed. We gave them another chance and then there were 3 left. So we gave everybody 3 shots of bringing their property up to code.
Are these all places that are vacant? Or
these
are
all
families
places
living there?
People living there, but these are all rental units. So these are all landlord owned and a tenant that lived there. And so we gave everybody 3 chances to bring the thing up at code. No one's kicking anybody out. We just want these properties kept up to code, and it's as important for the people who live there. People live in abject conditions. It's hard to understand how bad some of these properties are. They look like from a third world country, and it's hard for me to understand how people want to defend a system that led us to this.
Well, let me stay with it for a second, because the end game in this would be a sheriff's sale, right?
The end game would be a sheriff's sale.
And what
Correct.
happens to the families then if there's a sheriff's sale?
Well, anybody who doesn't pay for it conceivably would lose their property, but it's not like we impose we get a lien and immediately go to sheriff's sale. We give everybody, virtually everybody, gets a chance of a payment plan or some way to pay off whatever is owed them.
I understand this. That's the owners of the place, but there's people renting it. Are you taking them into consideration, the families that are there and may be affected?
Well, keep in mind, if we take it at sheriff's sale, the families are there, stay there until someone decides that they're not tenants fit to stay there. You know, people stood before council and made the same argument, and some of the people who did that owed the city $50,000. You know, of course not disclosed at council. So it's hard, you know, we know the facts. I think council wasn't aware of some of the facts involved here. We work with everybody. First of all, it's politically indefensible to take somebody and throw them out on the street. It's crazy. I mean, nobody in my position with a half a brain would do that. But I recognize that that's what people are worried about, and we're doing our best to allay those fears.
So your message to the people that are pushing back would be, why don't you just wait and see what happens rather than talk about possibilities?
Well, I want you to think about something. I want you to think about this. Think about the scenario where the law that I'm proposing was in place, and we said, we're going to change it. We wanted to make it a criminal fine. Think about what that discussion would be right now. If we said we want to criminalize these behaviors, you know, everybody would be going through the roof on that one. We have to have a system that works. This one doesn't work.
Sir, I always appreciate your time.
Yep, great
I really
seeing you.
appreciate you coming in. Mayor Mike Purzycki, the mayor of Wilmington, Delaware. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about blight. We have two young people who are going out in the streets trying to do something about it themselves when the Delaware Way continues.